Hi reception, welcome to our literacy lesson for today. Today we're going to look at our story map again, Little Red Riding Hood. But today we're going to do something called Innovate. Innovating our story map means we're going to change something. Today we're going to look at changing our setting. Can you remember what the word setting means? What is a setting when it comes to a story? Can you remember? Good job. The setting for our story is the forest. Well done. How do we know that our story takes place in a forest? Because the book tells us, yes, the book tells us that Little Red Riding Hood lives in a forest. What is a forest? What does that word mean? Can you remember? Amazing, well done. A forest is somewhere that has lots and lots and lots of trees. You're absolutely right. Well done. Okay, what else do you think you might find in a forest? What other animals do you think might live in a forest? Rabbits and foxes, you're right. Okay, so today we're going to look at some different settings. So we're not going to look at the forest because we already know that's where our story happens. Today we are going to look at different places that might make our story a little bit different. First of all, we are going to look at this setting. Where am I? I'm in space. Can you see Earth behind me? Ooh, I'm floating around a bit. Wow, it's exciting up here. It's really dark. I don't think Plop, our owl from our story, would like it much up here, do you? What sort of things do you think you might see in space? You might see aliens. You might see spaceships. You can definitely see stars. I can see lots of stars in the sky. And what is this behind me? You're right, it's Earth. Amazing. Earth is where we live, isn't it? That's the planet that we live on. So do you think we might see some other planets if we were in space? Can you name some of the other planets that we learned last term? We learned Mars, Mercury, Venus, Uranus, Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune. Well done. Amazing, you remembered some of our planets. So if our setting for our story was in space, do you think there might be a big bad wolf? No. So the setting could change our story quite a lot, couldn't it? Shall we have a look at some other settings that we're going to look at today? So our story happens in the forest, but we've looked at if it happens in space. What about if it happened at the beach? Oh, wow, how beautiful is it here? I can see a big palm tree behind me and it's blowing in the wind. I can see some beautiful waves tumbling over the sand. I bet they're making beautiful sounds. Oh, I feel really relaxed at the beach. The beach is another setting. It's not like the forest. There is a tree, but it's a different kind of tree. You wouldn't see a palm tree in the forest. What do you think you might see at the beach? You might see some seagulls flying through the air. Sometimes they make a funny noise. What else might you see at the beach? I know, when I go to the beach, I spend lots of time building something. What do you think I might build when I'm at the beach? Sandcastles, that's right. I build sandcastles, I build trenches where the water can all go in. It's great fun at the beach. I love it. Okay, so far we've had a look at the forest as a setting, space as a setting, and the beach as a setting. Shall we see if we've got any more settings to look at today? Where am I? I'm underwater, deep inside the ocean. I know that because I can see lots of coral. This stuff here is called coral. What else can you see? I can see fish, well done, and lots of bubbles. If our story happened under the sea, what do you think Little Red Riding Hood might see on her way to Granny's house? Amazing, well done. She might see big fish. She might see an octopus. She might even see a shark. That would be scary. I don't know if I like sharks. I'd like to see a dolphin though. How about you? Amazing. So we're thinking about different kinds of settings that our story could happen in. It could happen in the forest, it could happen in space, it could happen at the beach, or it could happen under the ocean. Shall we have a look at one more setting? Let's have a look. Where am I now? Have a look. Goodness me, there's lots of cars and buses. Some really tall buildings. I'm in a city. Looks like a busy city to me. Goodness me, woo! Having to dodge cars. There's lots of people who live in this city. That's why there need to be really tall buildings for lots of people to live in. People in cities often live in flats, not houses. Do you think there is a forest nearby this city? No, it's too busy. There isn't enough room for a forest. I wonder, do you think it would be safe for Little Red Riding Hood to walk to Granny's house through the city? Why? You're absolutely right. Sometimes the city can be more dangerous because there are cars and buses and it's really, really busy. There are also lots of strangers in the city. Do you think the wolf would like to live in the city? Probably not. There's probably not lots of things for the wolf to hunt in the city because it's so full of people. What about under the sea? Do you think the wolf would like to live there? Wolves can't breathe under the sea, can they? Oh dear, silly Mrs. Atkinson. Okay, so we've looked at different settings for our story today. We've looked at the city, we've looked at space, we've looked at the beach, we've looked at under the sea, and we know that our story happens in the forest. Okay, let's go back to our story map. Whew, I'm glad to be home. Okay, so today we're going to change our setting for our story. We've just had a look at lots of different settings and thought about the different things we might see if we were in those different places. So today, in my bag, I have got our different settings and I'm going to choose one without looking, and that is what we will change our story to. Okay, let's have a look. I'm not looking. Where is our story going to change to? Ready? What's this a picture of? The ocean, that's right. So we are going to change our story to the ocean, deep inside the sea. That sounds exciting. Okay, so let's have a look at our story until we get to the setting. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood lived in a... Do you think there's houses or cottages under the city? Under the sea, sorry. What do you think? I'm not so sure. So I'm just going to pop this over here to remind us what we're going to change our setting to. So let's take away the house. Little Red Riding Hood lived under the sea. So I'm going to cover up a picture of the forest because that's not the setting for our story anymore. So I'm going to cover it up with some of these post-it notes, like that. And I'm going to cover up our house as well. There we go. Okay. So where are we going to say our story is taking place now? We're going to innovate it, change it to the ocean. Can you say that word? My turn, ocean. Your turn? Amazing. So we're going to change it to the ocean. So while I draw under the sea, which is a bit tricky, so you don't laugh at my drawings, I want you to have a think about what action we could do for ocean. Because we did this for forest, but it's not happening in the forest anymore. So we need a new action. Can you do that? Fabulous, well done. Amazing, well done. I have drawn the ocean. I've drawn the wavy top of the water, lots of fish with some bubbles and some coral. Can you remember the coral that was behind me? It was brightly coloured and a bit pointy. Okay. Did you come up with an action for ocean? I think you should use your action. But today, I'm going to make an action for ocean. I'll use mine, you use yours. Okay, let me have a think. Under the sea. Could I breathe under the sea? No, I need to breathe air. So I think I'm going to hold my nose and do this for ocean, just like a deep sea diver. Okay, so let's try and read our story with our new setting, the ocean. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood lived under the ocean. One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mum said, "Take this to Granny." So, Little Red Riding Hood skipped through the... She can't skip through the forest. We're not in the forest anymore. So we need to change it again. Do you think she can skip through the ocean? Can you skip through water when it's really deep? No, I can't either. What do we do when we're going through water? What's it called? Swimming. Amazing, well done. Okay, so Little Red Riding Hood. Can you swim? Do an action for swimming. Amazing, well done. So let's draw. There's the ocean. And here's Little Red Riding Hood swimming. For swimming through the ocean. So we need to draw the ocean again with its fish and its bubbles and the coral. There we go. Okay, shall we have a go at that from the beginning? Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Little Red Riding Hood. She lived in the ocean. One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mum said, "Take this to Granny's." So, Little Red Riding Hood swam through the ocean. But a wolf was watching her. The wolf was hungry. So, the wolf knocked on Granny's door. Suddenly, the wolf gobbled Granny up, but the wolf was still hungry. So he put on Granny's wig and her glasses and her dress. Later on, Little Red Riding Hood got to Granny's house. "Oh, Granny, what big ears you have!" "All the better to hear you with, my dear." "Oh, Granny, what big eyes you have!" "All the better to see you with, my dear." "Oh, Granny, what big teeth you have!" "All the better to eat you with, my dear." And gulp, the wolf gobbled Red Riding Hood up. Suddenly, a woodcutter arrived at Granny's house. He cut open the wolf's tummy, and Granny and Red Riding Hood jumped out. They all lived happily ever after. The end. Amazing, well done. That was a long lesson today, everybody, but you've done really well. And we have innovated our story to change the setting. Our story now doesn't take place in the forest. Where does our story take place now? In the ocean. Well done. The ocean is the new setting for our story. Tomorrow, we are going to look at innovating another part of our story. Do you think the story makes sense with this new setting? Have a think about that one, and if you'd like to, record a video, get your grown-up to record a video of you talking about why you think it might not make sense with this new setting. I'll see you really soon. Bye.